We will begin with our leading story from the Middle East. New diplomatic efforts, ladies and gentlemen, are once again being tested in Palestine. The proposed 20-point peace plan has reignited global debate. Is this a framework for lasting peace or just another pause for this cycle of human tragedy? Amid shifting alliances and renewed calls for accountability, Palestine stands now at a crossroads between resilience and reform, between survival and sovereignty. Joining us now is the Palestinian Minister for Foreign Affairs and Expatriates, Dr. Farsin Shaahin, to help us better understand how the Palestinian leadership views the path ahead. Thank you very much, Dr. Farsin, to have joined us.
Thank you very much for hosting me.
The pleasure is all ours, Excellency. Minister, after months of immense suffering in Gaza, we are finally seeing some kind of light ahead of this tunnel with this 20-point peace plan. Is this a genuine plan towards justice, or is it just an attempt to manage the conflict rather than resolve it?
Well, we hope it is a genuine plan, and if it was close to it, we need to make it a genuine plan. And we appreciate any effort that will bring us closer to an end of this aggression, and we are ready to work with all stakeholders towards that end goal. The priority for us is to end the killings, the starvation, the injuries. As you said, 24 months of absolute brutality and crimes committed against people in Gaza, with thousands being killed and hundreds of thousands being injured, and God knows how many still under the rubble. So for us, this 20-point peace plan has some key points that we need to take further and to look at, maybe, let's say, favorably, because it talked about the no displacement of the Palestinian people, no to annexation. It talked about the release of hostages and release of some of our prisoners in Israeli detention camps. It talked about the reconstruction of Gaza, and it alluded to a horizon leading to a Palestinian state. These are some of the positive points that we need to build on. But there are, of course, details that we need to inject and elaborate when we further discuss this peace plan, and those needs and details need to focus on how we tie this to international law, because this plan cannot be divorced from international law and what we have achieved until now through international law, and it needs to look at the integrity of the occupied Palestinian territory, or today the occupied state of Palestine, as one integral part, meaning Gaza, West Bank, and East Jerusalem as one, and of course tie it with the New York Declaration and whatever laws and governing principles are in effect on the West Bank, because the Gaza Strip cannot be divorced from the West Bank. And of course, for us as Palestinians, the most important thing is the role of the Palestinian Authority in all of this.
I agree with you on that. The most important role should be that of the Palestinian Authority, but there are talks of another authority being put into place with Tony Blair at the helm of affairs. What's your take on him?
I think I'm not going to speak on the people right now. Let's focus on the principle. If the principle is correct and the items by which the framework will develop is acceptable and palatable, then we believe whoever will be leading, or the group that will be leading, will be working throughout this mandate. So the mandate is the most important right now. And then we can discuss the issues of the personalities moving on with this.
All right. Talking about the mandate, the Israeli side is extremely perturbed now that Hamas has agreed to this 20-point peace plan, more or less with some reservations. Do you feel, in your point of view, that the implementation of this 20-point peace plan is going to further weaken the current Israeli government led by Netanyahu, because many of his so-called allies have threatened to walk out if this peace plan is implemented?
Well, this will be an internal Israeli matter, but for me, the most important thing is for the Israeli aggression to stop. And that aggression to stop means forging or signing an agreement that would stop that. And today we have a golden opportunity on doing so. And it would be in the best interest of the Palestinians and the Israelis alike, because the Israelis wouldn't want to continue as an occupier state, as a state that is committing genocide on its neighbors and is attacking its neighbors, living in a state of violence and counter-violence the whole time. So I think it would be in the interest of the Israeli people and Israel at large.
Dr. Fassin, it's interesting that you say that it is in the interest of the Israeli people, because apparently the Israeli government does not see really eye to eye with what the Israeli people really want under the current circumstances. In the light of past ceasefire violations and the past, all the decisions that have been taken, and we all know that, let's not go there, but how confident is the Palestinian leadership that under the current situation, Israel can be a reliable partner in any future peace framework?
Look, we have been disappointed for many, many decades, and more so in the last 2 years, because Israelis at the last minute back off. So we don't know. It is very unpredictable, but if there is a framework that is very well crafted and there are worldwide guarantees and there are guarantors from several sides, and a process that is based on clear parameters, a clear framework, a clear end game at the end of the tunnel, and some accountability mechanisms, and people are monitored to see who violates the terms, then that's the way to move forward.
All right. Speaking of ways to move forward, Dr. Fassin, what kind of guarantees or mechanisms do the Palestinians want from the Israelis for this peace implementation, or the implementation of this peace process, to actually work?
I think, you know, the time frames and the clear framework are very important, with milestones that everyone is complied with. If that is clearly crafted and delineated and people are held to account related to those terms, then that will work. Other than that, Israel will continue to say no for everything. No for anyone coming into Gaza, no for the PA, no for Hamas, yes for annexation, and yes for more killing and aggression and more violence.
Because we are seeing that violence, we are seeing that killing even now as we speak. Excellency, some of the points in this proposed peace framework, that this 20-point peace plan, prioritize security and regional stability. Now, how does Palestine ensure that these priorities do not come at the cost of its legitimate aspirations for sovereignty and dignity?
Well, yes, as you said, our end goal is end of occupation and sovereignty and the materialization of the state of Palestine on its rightful land that has been enshrined in international law. And today we have been recognized as a state of Palestine on 22% of historic Palestine by 160 countries. That's about 82% of the world. Today, Israel and everyone in the region and the world needs to understand that sovereignty, dignity are all interconnected with security and regional stability. It's a cycle. If one is absent, the other is absent. All of them lead to each other, and this is what we need to focus on.
All right, let's also talk about Pakistan, because of course we are Pakistan TV here and we are talking to you, who's the foreign minister of the state of Palestine. Pakistan has consistently voiced solidarity with the Palestinians. We have always highlighted, pointed out and backed the Palestinian point of view on all fora possible, whether it be on the political level, whether it be at the humanitarian level or the diplomatic level. How do you see this relationship between Palestine and Pakistan evolving in this new phase of regional realignment?
Look, we are most grateful for Pakistan's stance and the stance of the government and the Pakistani people. Pakistan has been very supportive in all international fora on the question of Palestine. It has been very supportive in terms of humanitarian assistance, in terms of providing scholarships to our students. It has been very firm on the need for Palestinian unity. It has been firm on its stance on Jerusalem, Al-Aqsa Mosque, and so forth. So for that, we are most appreciative. But we always ask for more. As Palestinians, we expect always more from our brothers and sisters, and Pakistan is at the forefront of that kind of assistance. We would like to see an ongoing support, especially in terms of continuing the humanitarian assistance and in terms of helping people in Gaza steadfast and the rebuilding and the reconstruction of Gaza. And I know there are talks about, you're very interested in the education sector, talks about rebuilding the universities and so forth. So in a nutshell, our people, our government, our leadership appreciates Pakistan and the Pakistani people for their unconditional support.
All right. Dr. Fasreen, Pakistan and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia recently signed a defense pact. What impact do you feel a defense pact like that is going to be on the Middle East and on this continuous Israeli aggression towards countries in the Middle East, the last one being Qatar?
First of all, we appreciate the Saudi-Pakistani pact. This is very important. We hope that there will be further cooperation and coordination between all Islamic and Arab countries, because that will bring a much more bigger leverage vis-a-vis the region, the Islamic world, the Arab world, and especially when it comes to the question of Palestine. A lot can be deterred through this kind of solidarity, and we've seen this solidarity and the strength of this solidarity in the recent summit in Qatar, where it was very clear that an attack on one of the Arab and Islamic countries would mean an attack on all of them. So this is a big message to project to the world, and especially to an aggressor state such as Israel in the region.
You know, you talk of Israel being the aggressor state. We see the aggression happening even now as we speak. The number of Palestinians, as you yourself alluded to, is increasing with every passing hour. And every new day we hear of hundreds of Palestinians being killed or butchered, despite the fact that pressure is mounting on Israel under the current 20-point peace deal. There is also a growing sense that Palestine's struggle is now moving also towards other arenas, like, say, the International Court of Justice or the International Criminal Court or the United Nations. In your point of view, how is your ministry, because of course you are heading the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the State of Palestine, building this international momentum as far as accountability and recognition of your state is concerned?
Look, yes, the situation is extremely dire, and it continues to be so even as the parties are speaking right now, because we see that the attacks and the aggression is continuing in Gaza. On the West Bank, violations are mounting and intensifying by the day. In Jerusalem, Judaization efforts are also on the rise. But despite all, we have to, keep the hope alive. And we have to keep, for now, humanitarian assistance as a priority, but never, ever lose sight of the broader picture. The broader picture is an occupation that needs to end. So on the diplomatic level, we are using whatever mechanisms we have internationally based on international law, because today the game is, first and foremost, accountability. No impunity for a state that has enjoyed so much impunity for a long time. And it is that impunity that has enabled it to do whatever it's doing today in terms of war crimes. And we're seeking more recognitions. The recognitions are important because they strengthen the legal position of Palestine and send a very important message to Israel that your occupation cannot last forever and it needs to be dismantled and it will end. We are also working with, bilaterally with various states that have not recognized, and we are still working multilaterally because we have to use all multilateral forums that are available. The framework for us is what President Abbas has put forward on the nature of the state of Palestine that we envisage and how we can move forward in terms of modernizing the state, building it on principles of responsibility, accountability, transparency, democracy, and so forth. And we take as a frame of reference the New York Declaration, because today we have the power of that declaration that has been endorsed by 2/3 of the world and 82% of the world that has recognized Palestine. So we want these countries to have measures on the ground. It is only through measures on the ground that this occupier state will be deterred. And those measures include legal measures, include political measures, include economic measures, trade measures, and so forth.
All right. Excellency, also I'd like to know, you talked about aid. We all know the situation as far as the aid in Palestine, in Gaza is concerned, how that is deliberately being stopped, how people, especially children and women, have been dying of starvation, how a recent report says that 1 in 5 children who are born dead because of the state of affairs of the mothers that they are in, because they can't eat properly. They don't have enough to eat, they don't have enough to drink, there is no clean water, there is no medicine as well, and the state of the hospitals is for everybody to see as well. In this current state comes the whole situation of the flotilla. The Global Sumud flotilla was the last of the flotilla that came here, and we all know how they were intercepted by the Israelis and now have been arrested. Some of them have been released, and we'll get to know how all of them and when all of them will be released. Will efforts such as this Global Sumud flotilla somehow affect the peace deal architecture?
It sends a very strong message that you have some 500 people from 45 countries coming through Sumud flotillas, which means steadfasting. And it sends a very big message that this siege on Gaza needs to be, it needs to break, and we need to come to the assistance of the people. But we know that that all of them were intercepted, and we expected that because Israel has done this in the past with other flotillas. Regardless, it is a strong message. It brings some sense of solidarity and some sense of hope to the people under siege. But it also sends a clear message that today, more than ever, we have to do something regarding the starving children. We have more than 500 people in Gaza that have died because of starvation. And we have some over 2,500 Palestinians that have died only queuing for food. These are starving people who were queuing for food, and they were killed in the queue lines. So the message is there, but we need to do a lot more to be able to break that siege.
Finally, Minister, I've taken a lot of your time, but my last question concerns a ray of hope in the form of these peace talks, of this 20-point peace deal. After so much loss, what message of hope or direction would you or could you offer to the Palestinian people and to the world community that continues to watch this tragedy unfold every passing hour of every passing day since the last 2 years?
I would say that it is shameful that we are witnessing crimes of this nature against humanity, against our people in Gaza in this day and age. This should never happen. We should comply with international law. We should stand up, all of us, for humanity. We should free the people in Gaza. We should free all Palestinians. It is long overdue that the Palestinians have been living under this belligerent occupation that needs to come to an end, because that end of occupation is the only factor that will bring peace and security for the region, for the Palestinians, for the Israelis, for the region, and probably for the world at large. Now is the time.
Now is the time, and I hope your message has gotten across to all those who are watching, including all of us in Pakistan. We will always support you, we'll always stand by your side with our Palestinian brothers and sisters, and wherever we can highlight the Palestinian issue, we will continue to do that, and we'll continue to work for peace. We'll continue to work in whichever direction that can bring solace to the people of Palestine. Thank you very much, Excellency Dr. Farsin, to have joined us and to have given us an exclusive as to what is exactly happening as we speak and what are the expectations of your state from the world at large. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That was, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Farsin Ashbayan Shaheen, the Palestinian Minister for Foreign Affairs, joining us in this exclusive on Pakistan TV, telling us about the situation in which Palestine is, what is the need that the Palestinians are asking from the world, and how should the world now move forward. The 20-point peace plan is there. The talks will be happening in Egypt, in Sharm el-Sheikh as we speak. What would be the outcome is extremely important for peace in the world to somehow achieve some kind of culmination. As the world debates this peace on paper, ladies and gentlemen, the people of Palestine continue to live their daily cost with courage, faith, and unbroken spirit. For Pakistan, our bond with the Palestinian people will always continue to be strong, and it has never been about politics alone. It's about shared principles of justice, dignity, and the right to live free on one's own land. This ends this segment. We'll be back after a short break. Stay tuned.